Alright, so hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video. Why is this video called the Sunfall theory? Interesting, isn't it? Yes. After releasing the level 100 Druid talents video, I gave it more thought and I actually looked at the new Dream of scenarios, and I was kind of thinking about how could these talents possibly be viable, compared to Equinox. I think I found something. Okay, so this theory is based on a synergy from Soul of the Forest. You can see a proc on the screen right now. The new reworked Dream of Scenarios for Draenor and Sunfall. And what it's about basically is you dancing between eclipses, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth as fast as possible via the usage of the Soul of the Forest proc. The only problem with this right now is that Soul of the Forest only has an 8% chance to proc, which is the biggest issue right now. So I either got some random procs, or I got a series of very frequent procs. I don't think it has a global cooldown. Or one time I actually went with a minute and a half just window of no procs. I was just going from an eclipse to an eclipse to an eclipse to an eclipse, not getting any procs. So that's the only issue. It's not very reliable. Now the new and reworked Dream of Scenarios, it's actually pretty cool for balance, and I think it will be very competitive against Heart of the Wild and Nature's Vigil. What it does is every time you enter an eclipse, you get you get a free healing touch, okay? Free instant healing touch. If you use that healing touch to heal either yourself or someone else, your next Star Surge will not trigger its cooldown. Okay, so you can cast 2 Star Surges instead of 1, and it triggering the cooldown. You can cast 2 and the second one will trigger the cooldown. The idea of this is that you are going to use this instant healing touch when you enter an eclipse, okay, or after you fire off an instant Star Surge. So let's just say you start off in solar eclipse. Okay, so you use your healing touch, you use 2 Star Surges, you fire off Sunfall, you have your dots, you start casting Wrath, and you keep going towards Lunar. If at any given time before you leave solar, you get Soul of the Forest proc, you jump into Lunar Eclipse and you use Starfall, maybe even before your Sunfall runs off. Now, here's the interesting thing. You will use your instant healing touch and you will cast 2 Star Surges and you will keep casting Wrath because it's much faster. Much faster. So you're basically, by doing this, you're trying to force another Soul of the Forest proc. Now, you will still use Star Surges and your Shooting Stars procs to move you towards 0 lunar energy. Once you reach 0 lunar energy, you will start casting Starfires to get you back into solar. Now, I've been playing around with this for an hour and I don't have the new spell, so this is just a theory, but it might actually do something. Okay, so the idea of this is that you want to cast as many spells as possible in as short amount of time as possible. So you are forcing more Soul of the Forest procs. And if you get a cascade of just Soul of the Forest proc after proc after proc after proc, this could be insane. Okay, a couple of times, I think it's in this video as well somewhere, I got like 5 procs just one after another, just jumping from an eclipse to an eclipse to an eclipse to an eclipse. If that happens and you have Sunfall, you have the new Dream of Scenarios, you're gonna do some serious damage with that. Okay, I think it's here, maybe here. I jump into an eclipse, I start casting. Is it here or not? I don't think so. No, it already happened, or it's gonna happen, doesn't matter. So the idea is that you want to cast as many spells in as short period of time as possible. So you basically go from solar to lunar. Then in lunar you're casting Wraths and you're moving towards solar with Star Surges, and you're basically trying to utilize Sunfall and Starfall plus your Dream of Cenaria's healing touches and additional star surges to just do as much damage as possible. That's the idea. Okay, I cannot test it, which is rather irritating. But I think this is gonna be the first thing I will do when I get into beta and I actually get up to level 100, because I'm really curious to see the results of this. Because if the synergy works as I think it will, this might be the top DPS thing. Okay, this might be the micromanaging thing that Feral Druids are doing with Dream of Scenarios. Okay, we can have something similar, and it's great because it raises the Moonkin ceiling even higher. You know, Moonkin ceiling, you know, the skill ceiling is pretty high. You know, everyone's saying that. Even Mike Preach Wow says that. So I think it's here. Yeah, this is the cascade of procs. I was just like, screw dots, I just want to see numbers. Yeah, and it was actually quite good. I think I screw it up here, yeah. And see, another one. So if you get a good cascade of these drops, procs, it's great. You know, you're jumping from an eclipse to an eclipse. You have Nature's Grace all the time. You have Mastery bonus. But as I've said, I also had a 1.5-minute window where I got 0 procs precisely. So yeah, this will be the first thing I will try when I get into beta and I'm actually level 100, if this synergy actually works, and if somehow I can create a viable way, or I can think of a viable way to proc Soul of the Forest, you know, kind of reliably. It's always going to be unreliable because it's a percentage chance proc, but I think this might be actually pretty good. So yeah, what do you think about this? I think this might be a good thing eventually. And by the way, this is how I basically learned the little tips and tricks of, you know, moonkinning around. I just stand in front of a training dummy and I just play with something until it either works, in which case I will make a guide or a video for you guys, or I'm like, yep, this doesn't work, and I will bury it under the ground and I will never talk about it again. So yeah, this is just an idea. I don't have any numbers, I have nothing. I just have this theory that it might work eventually. Oh yeah, almost forgot. I want your feedback. Comment. All of them. Give them to me. They feed me.